Hey guys, it's Alexo again. Now I'm making this video as kind of a response to some questions and some things I wasn't able to get to on my Guide to Learning Dove Magic video. Things that either I forgot to get to or things that I kind of left out because of time restrictions. I want to first start out by saying that if you're going to get into Dove Magic, this you need to get. The Marian Chavez Encyclopedia of Dove Magic. This is, in my opinion, one of the best books in Magic and probably the best book on Dove Magic. The only thing I would say about this one is, the only bad thing I would have to say is ignore the first half of information on, the second half of information, sorry, on page 41 and the first third of page 42. If you get into Dove Magic and you see what some of these pages, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But other than that, this is easily the best book. It goes over diet, it goes over illnesses, signs of illnesses, what to look for, and also teaches really, really great Dove Magic, including the Neil Foster Dove production, which is one of the best productions that is out there. And also goes over a little bit about training and a little bit about housing. There are other books on Dove Magic as well, like the Dove Worker's Handbook, but honestly, these books don't really offer anything that you don't get in the Marian Chavez book, so I put these away for now. One question that gets asked a lot of Dove magicians is, what type of bird do you get? And I want to sell this once and for all. The type of bird that magicians use is the white color morph of the domesticated ringneck dove, also known as the Barbary dove. The scientific name of them is Streptopilia rosoria. I've seen on the technical writers of a lot of magicians who use birds in their act incorrectly write Streptopilia capicola, which is technically the Cape turtle dove, which is a wild dove. But a lot of people get that confused because another name for them is ringed neck dove, R-I-N-G-E-D instead of R-I-N-G neck dove. So that's where some of the confusion goes. But it's the domesticated white ringneck dove. Now, most of the time, if you just ask a breeder for a white dove, most of the time they'll know what you're talking about. Now, where to get them is, the best place to get them from is a bird farm. The reason for that is you can get the exact one you want, the exact sex you want, and the right age that you want. A lot of times in pet stores, some of the people won't know the sex of the bird, some of them won't know the age of the bird, and a good place if you can't find a bird farm is try to find a mom and pop pet store. Don't go for a corporate pet store like a PetSmart or a Petco, because a lot of times they can't special order things and you'll need to special order this. My most recent one I was able to get from a mom and pop store here on Long Island called Country Critters, and they actually ordered me the exact bird that I want, so I owed them a little bit for that. And again, try to get it from a bird farm, but if you're really desperate, try asking the local pet stores if they can special order one for you. Another question I'm beginning to ask is one that I kind of left out of the video because of time restrictions, but I really should have talked about it because it is kind of a big thing. In fact, I believe either Tony Clark's production team or Tony Clark himself made a note on there that I left out the return flight program in Tony Clark Unmasked. And he's right, I did forget about it, and I want to talk a little bit about dove training right now and where some of the DVDs stand on dove training. The Tony Clark one details his return flight program, which is a conditioning program that goes over a couple of weeks. This same program can also be found in the International Magician Society Magic Academy Course of Magic on volume 16 and 17 as mentioned. Now, between these two, I recommend you get this because you're getting the exact same information that you're getting on this DVD, plus stuff from Harry Lorraine, Lou Lancaster, Johnny Thompson, Rocco, and there's actually the last 5 volumes on here is on Grand Illusion, so I recommend you get this if you can. Now, so I'll show some of the other DVDs how they stand on training. Doves 101 talks a little bit about dove training and goes over a program that's similar to Clark's, and he actually does tell you to refer to Tony Clark's video on that one. But he kind of gives the basic bare bones on the training in this one. Doesn't really go into a lot of detail, but makes a nice amendment to the routine that I think that should be added to Tony Clark's program. But I still feel that if you need to get one magic DVD, Dubs 101 is the one to get. So a little bit of training goes into there. Shimada in this one talks very little about training and kind of goes over kind of the first couple of steps, something that's kind of similar to what Tony Clark talks about. But he doesn't really go into some of the finer points. So this one's really more about the magic than it is about the training. How to make a living stealing dubs doesn't go over training at all. So this one is just methods, and the methods in here are really, really good. This one, the Ian Adair video, Adair, I still don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. He doesn't really go into training, but he talks about shortcuts. This includes trimming the bird's wings, wetting under the wings, taping the first 3 primary feathers together. And as far as that goes, you know, that's not training. That's just, you know, crippling the bird, so to speak. I mean, if you're really nervous, you can try the whatever one seems the most humane of these, but if you don't have to, there's no point in trying to use shortcuts. And the only one I actually did mention training from was this one, the Dan Sperry DVD, Technical Tosses. And I mentioned that because that's half the DVD. Half the DVD goes over his return flight training program, which is drastically different from the Tony Clark one. And people ask me about the programs, which one to use and which ones don't use, which one is more effective. In my opinion, you should use both. The reason for that is because no one training program is 100% effective. I don't care what any magician says, there is no program that will work 100% of the time on 100% of the birds. There's going to be some deficiencies, there's going to be a need to bring in a few different training programs, and you will need to experiment. I found the most luck with a combination of these two. This one I use for basic training when I first get the birds ready to be performing, and I use this to iron out the kinks. What I mean by that is, like, this is a good one for getting a rapport with the birds and getting them associated with you as a safe place to land, but sometimes, depending on your living conditions or your whatever training or just the individual bird, they pick up bad habits. And when you do that, you need some sort of behavior modification program in order to iron out the bad habits, and Sperry's is really, really good at doing that. For example, one of my birds, Burton, he was a little bit of a spaz at first. Like, you know, he was okay for, you know, being produced and kind of staying where he was, but he wasn't a return flight guy at all after this program. But I tried using Sperry's to correct the program, and he's doing tremendously. This one really helped him out a lot. My main boy Gabriel didn't need this one, but if you have a bird that you want to get him a little bit more obedient, I recommend this as a little way to iron out the kink. If you're really strapped for cash and just want the program, you can try to hunt down this. It's Deja Vu. It's basically the return flight program in printed form instead of video form. If you're really strapped for cash, you can get this, but you know, the DVD is worth it. If you private message me, I will point you in the I'll try to point you in the right direction, but keep in mind I'm not going to expose anything. So that's all for now. I hope you don't find this one too boring, because it's just kind of me explaining my mistakes. So again, my name is Alexo, and I hope you enjoyed my show.